All right. What's up, Mr. David Uberti, Mr. Mark Dorman, first in the chat. Let me know if you guys can see and or hear me. Its volume sucks, if it's too low or whatever, before we get too deep into this. And yeah, we'll kick this off with calling out who all's in on the live stream, getting to your guys' questions, see where we go. We got Mr. Bob Bazzoli from Delaware. We got Vance ARA. Mark says good on both. Good. Awesome. Mr. Hemi DX, Jerry Gore, Calcite Serendipity, Central Arkansas PRS. We got Lynn Swain, Roger Rose, John LeRoque from Toronto. We got Kenny from Eagle Eye Shooting, Kyle Buchanan, Long Rifle, Mike Wednesday. You guys are pouring in. That's always good to see. Man, it has been a weird couple of weeks for me. The weather has been totally crap. I am super behind on content because just the weather sucks. If you're in and around North Carolina, you know, we got basically like a bunch of rain, then we got snow, another cold snap, more rain, and then it's just been windy. The wind's finally starting to let down. So hopefully this week I can get back in on some things. But yeah, and largely anyway, still waiting on a ton of stuff to make content on. Still have some ideas, obviously, still some things that I haven't done that I'm going to do. Like number one, I got to pick my PRS rimfire for this year. So that's something that's going to happen. I'm going to do it on camera, shoot both rifles right now that I'm considering. And then you guys will kind of see probably not a scientific method to determining it because a lot of it's about feel. But let me see who else snuck in here. Let's see. We had Mike Wednesday, Mr. Tim Rink, Jonathan Wren, Rylan Brown. What's up, brother? I'm doing good. Quality Maximus. What's up? Jacob Pear from Missouri. TJ Fishing. What's up? Dirt ATV. Always nice to see you. Matt C. Mark says, I thought my excuses were limited to shooting. Oh, no. There are no limit to the excuses. You guys know that. Amateur shooter, professional excuse maker, and amateur videographer. That's probably... and then if I'm shooting like action stuff, I'm pretty pro, target paster as well too. Got Mark Lashway, I think it is. Maybe I didn't butcher that. Yeah, weather has been sucking. Loophole Mark IV Track Torque or Burst XDR Pro. The Birds, like the XDR Pro, is more expensive than the other one, so of course it's going to outclass them. The Torque and the Mark IV. Like you're getting, I think, similar glass. The Torque has more magnification range, right? But some people aren't going to like the turrets of the Torque. So the Torque have the taller turrets that you need to like unlock. If you don't like that, pick the Mark IV. But no, you're going to a 4x, that's why it's a Mark IV, 4x magnification. So if it's 4 to 16, 5 to 25. So pretty similar with a little bit different. I would say probably the Tract overall for the money is more feature rich, but you're getting more magnification range. You're getting illumination, good reticle, all those things. And the glass is pretty on par with a Mark IV. I think the only reason to go with a Mark IV is one, you like the black scope, and two, you like the turrets and the reticle choices. So it's not always cut and dry, but that's kind of my quick take on it. Got Mr. Joe from Windy, Pennsylvania. Let's see, who else did I miss? Harry Grubbs from Texas. Nice to have you. Michael Holt. I'm right outside of Greensboro. I'm actually in between Burlington and Liberty. In that area, you probably know what I'm talking about. Number one catfish. Hi, Josh. Bushnell MPED or Athlon Helos. That's an 800 fit base class. It all depends. Kind of, do you have a favorite? Typically, the Athlon glass is going to be a little bit better for the money. I don't remember the Helos like real well. The MPED was pretty good. Don't forget, you also now have the Arkin and the DNT, the 7 to 35 is a lot for rimfire, but you could get away with it if you're used to being in a scope. It's going to have, you're going to have to use more magnification on a 7 to 35. To see the subtensions on the reticle really well. So it's probably going to put you somewhere around 16 power, which if you're on a rimfire range, NRL 22, that could limit you a little bit. But there's a lot of good options in that price point. The Bushnell MPED didn't give me any problems. I liked it. I'm actually waiting on another scope that's supposed to come in around about that price point, kind of in the same features. But I think in a more generic, like 5 to 25. area. So maybe wait a couple weeks if you're not like dying to get something right now. Mr. John Doe, I think I saw you comment on a video actually. Work with Tim triggers. We have upcoming Remington 700. Reach out. Yeah, man, I've always had. The great thing about Timney was, and I don't know that I've told this kind of before. So I bought pretty much most of the Timney stuff, especially starting out. Like I bought those triggers and I really liked them. And it was like the best 457 trigger by far. I still think for PRS or NRL, it's better than the other options. The jar trigger, I think, is a good trigger for bench rest, like probably going to outshine the Timney, but I like the flat face. I like the trigger mechanics, and I have a bunch of hits, and I wanted to kind of, because I'd used so many Timneys, I kind of branched out. I've tried a bunch of other triggers, so now I have a ton of triggers, but the Timney hit, I've got one there that breaks like 7 ounces, 6 ounces. It's really good. Anyway, long story short, for the like 4 or 5 last triggers that I've gotten from them, they did send them like for my ARs and stuff that I shoot competitively. I run the Calvin Elites in those. Some of them I do run trigger techs, but literally Timney has been so awesome to this channel, and I don't abuse it. Like, and obviously there's not a Timney on every single one of my rifles, but if I want to try one of their triggers, I've been able to reach out and they almost immediately send me a trigger, which has been awesome, because they don't ask for anything in return. They basically know that if I'm asking, like I'm down a trigger and I trust their triggers and I want to put it on a competition gun or a gun on the channel. And anyway, I say that to say I've had a ton of Timney triggers. I've never had problems with any of them. And I could just as easily go back to shooting all Timney triggers right now, and it would not hurt my performance. And they've always been great guys. So it's awesome seeing you here. You did comment, I think, on one of my YouTube videos about working for Timney, and that's pretty cool because, that is a U.S. company, so supporting guys like that is really cool. And then we get to see guys who work for the company on here, which is also really cool. Brian Berry, yeah, and the loopholes America made. Got that going for it. Let's see, we got Mr. Slick with it. Bush and LCS is pretty cheap, so if you're on the fence, maybe go a different brand. Yeah, that's true. Nice to have you. We got Mr. Zach Poniger. Yeah, something like that. There's some fences there we won't cross on pronunciations. Cheers from Australia, where we do not have any rights. Yeah, I know you guys got it tough. We are very lucky in the U.S., considering the world climate on guns. Arkin is the new Athlon. Yeah, that's a little true. Athlon, I don't know if they're the new Athlon. I mean, it is. It kind of is. Athlon's still very much in the game, though. Let's see. You live in Stokesdale. That's actually one place I'm not super familiar with, but I'm sure we're pretty close. Mr. Pick, what's up, brother? Nice having you. Do you think 2 Remex mags is fine? I only carry 2 mags to competition with me. This because less is more for me. I don't like to have a bunch of stuff. And what I have is like tried, true, and vetted. And the Remex mags are so freaking reliable. I have other variants. I could bring a ton with me. And everybody you ask is going to be different. So I know people who carry like as many mags as they own and they load them all up. To me, I just carry the 2. I got one on my side, one that stays with the gun that goes back in my pocket when I'm not done. That's just kind of how I do things. So DJ2 from East Tennessee. We got Mr. Orange Smoke. What's up, brother? Let's see. Eagle Eye. See, somebody different does their own thing. Carries small Tupperware, all mags loaded for match. One less thing. Yeah. See, that's part of his thing. He doesn't have to do it. For me, everybody has their kind of like own match procedure. So for me, my procedure is already like from when I only had 2 or 3 mags. I do the same thing every time I shoot. I take out my data card. I go back, I sit down, I reload my mag, and then I start on my next data card. And it's just how I do it. So if I had preloaded mags, you could guarantee I wouldn't have enough to shoot every stage, and then I would like forget to load one, and it would cost me. But everybody's going to have their own little process. Lives in Stokesdale. My daughter and I have been playing target shooting, so I want to get a CZ447 watching all your videos. Yeah, man. I mean, you're pretty close. Like, CZs are really good. There's a ton of good options, obviously, up here. I think, for if you don't know exactly, like if you want an all-around good gun, CZ457 is hard to beat because you can do just about anything you want with it. We got Mr. Bentress Marksman up here. What's up, brother? Let's see. Quality Maximus on your CZ and Vision chassis. What are the external weights in the very front? Those are different from the set. Yeah, so I have, well, I actually just changed it. You can't really see. There's two, and I can't remember what weights they are. They're just weights I have. Because actually these are off. These are the Vision weights. I didn't actually need all that weight, so I pulled these off to run on a different rifle, and ended up not. Actually, no, they're not the same. I have all sorts of weights. So the ones on the Vision chassis are different. These are different from those. I have like gray. I have a ton of different weights. 10 Rimx mag. That's more than a Soto Flex. If I had to pick, oh, I only have to read that. Voodoo. Voodoo 360. I don't know what it is. I just like the Anschutz is the upsold CZ. Like it's the better done CZ, but you can build the CZ. So you're not going to see a lot of Anschutz. But so if I had to pick one because I'm a PRS NRL style shooter, I'm going to go with the Voodoo over the 1710. And that's after obviously having owned the 1710. Do you think tariffs will have further effect on SK Lapua and Ely and those kilos out of match? No, I don't think so. They pretty much already set their prices for this year, so I don't think it's going to have a huge effect. But we'll have to see. Obviously hard to tell. And yeah, you are right. Those 7722s are a little bit rare this day and age. Should be a good one for you. No, they don't have an option for the Timney trigger spring. So basically you run it down as low as it'll go. If you run it down low and get the sear engagement both set low, it breaks plenty low enough for PRS or NRL 22, like way more than low enough. Yeah. So I have heard and it's a production trigger and you're putting it in a production rifle. So you've got tolerances, probably the tolerances on the Timney side are pretty solid, but then you've got the CZ production side, right? So you're going to hit, here on a certain rifle where it breaks super light, super clean. You're going to get one up here where there's a crap ton of sear engagement for whatever reason, and it's just going to be a little heavier than the others. But yeah, I've found the ones I've ran have been totally fine. 4 years collecting. That's true. Best mags or extensions on stock mags for the B14R. Honestly, I don't really like the B14R mags. I would say, just ditch them in lieu for something else. You've got NDR mags, L3I mags. You've got a whole ton of them. Just kind of get something that fits your budget. But yeah, I don't really like there's nothing wrong with them. I just don't really love them. Mine run for me better than they run for most people. A lot of people struggle with those mags, the factory Bergar mags. Mine run, but I wouldn't go out of my way to spend more money on a factory Bergar mag. I think I would just get a billet mag or something. Do both those mags? Yeah, no, both have extensions on them. Sometimes, so I have 3 Rimx mags. Sometimes I'll take the 10 round without the extension because I don't really need, it's going to sit on my side the entire match unless I need it. But yeah, I have no issues with the extensions. So I would run both extensions or one. It didn't matter. What's up, Mr. Jonathan Sylvester? Appreciate you, brother. I normally get it from Kilo Shooting Sports for Ely because I can buy about a lot. Right now, they are out. They do go through little periods where they run out, but betting it won't be long before they restock. Most of the year, they are in stock at Kilo. We got Mr. Lance Kirkland in the house. What's up, brother? John Neal, Josh, best advice, practice methods for learning to shoot in the wind and learn wind calls. Bench rest. Honestly, if you're shooting bench rest where you can have wind flags, get wind flags up all the time and then shoot. And get a flag direction that's consistent, shoot and see how much that changes the point of impact. Let it die off, shoot again, let it change. Just shooting in those conditions, you're going to have to just learn. It's just going to be something you're going to have to mentally click into, that when the wind flags are in a certain position, that's that much movement on the projectile at 50 and 100 yards. And yeah, there's no real shortcut that I'm aware of. Obviously, it's not my game. But, basically I'm looking at brush, mirage, and wind flags if I have them when I'm shooting steel or, PRS matches. And it's all just stuff that I've learned from the last other 1,000 times that have shot in the wind, seeing it do certain things and reacting to that and making that kind of happen. Let's see. Like you are, reload a mag during the match. You're just conscious something else for a moment. A mental reset. Yeah, I mean, once you get burned in with something, it's best to stick with it. Let's see. Captain Radio Adventures. Howdy, y'all live in South Carolina. We'll do my first lives in South. Nice. Got plenty of options. Clinton House, good place to shoot PRS 22 as well. I think they got one coming up middle of the month. But Clinton House, South Carolina is a great place. A lot of good shooters. Let's see. Mr. Joseph D. Great channel. Looking at the two stocks, MDT Orcs or the KRG Bra. Which one? KRG sounds hollow if you tap on it. Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like, I think the Oryx is a more solid, probably more robust. The KRG has like a mini chassis in it, so it's really kind of going to be based on what you want to do. But yeah, I think the KRG is fine. The MDT Oryx is fine too. I haven't used I've used both of those, but not like for a season when some sort of production rifle setup. So I kind of just looked at them, as an upgrade option, and both of them were pretty decent. Do I have my Curtis yet? No, the rimfire I don't. My centerfire 22 arc I do, but it's not working. So I think I have like a bad extractor. It's giving me fits, so it's not anybody's fault. These things happen. It's my centerfire bolt gun. So hopefully I'll have that on the channel here pretty soon. A couple of weeks I need to get straightened out. But yeah, I think I got a bad extractor or possibly the wrong extractor. I don't know. It's not ejecting. Like, the round falls out of the bolt face halfway traveling back. So it's not like the extractor is not capturing the cartridge very well. We got Mr. Don in the house. What's up, brother? Let's see. Mars has started making a lot of 12-round stages. I guess Tony wants to start making mag extensions. Yeah, it could be. Well, it was funny, and when I shot USPSA, it was always like the joke, like they would create a new division to sell stuff. Like if a new gun or a new gadget came to market, and obviously those guys are like sponsoring, the series, that they would create a new division just for those. And that's pretty similar in almost, every shooting sport, It's kind of funny though. Ooh, that's a tough one. Razor Gen 3 or Leupold Mark 5. Okay, so I have both, and they're both on very competitive guns for me right now, but I haven't shot the Gen 3 in a match. The Gen 3 is really, really nice. It's more money, right? So it's hard to say. So far, I have zero complaints about the Gen 3. I don't have any beef with it at all. I think maybe the reticle may be a little smaller than what I'm used to, what I would prefer to use for the magnification level I shoot at in a match, but I haven't shot it in a match. The only complaints I've ever heard about the Razor Gen 3s were the turrets. Initially, early on, about everybody I knew had a Razor Gen 3, had to send it back because the turrets messed up. I think that's since then been corrected. I can tell you the one that I got, the turrets on it feel really good. And I have a stiffer detent. All the complaints that I've ever heard do not exist on my current one. So let me shoot a match with it. I'm trying to see how, when, what, where. I'm going to shoot a match. It's going to be within the next month. But I definitely want to shoot a match for sure with it before I say, yeah, it's better than this or, whatever. But yeah, I don't think you could go wrong with either, basically, is kind of what I'm saying for right now. Anybody interested in a bolt action 22 long rifle AR? I bet you the California guys are. I think I've seen some, not for AR-22, obviously, but for AR, some bolt action, single shot deals. Let's see. Custom CZ versus rim. What one would miss out on, maybe on range accuracy? Honestly, both of them could be phenomenally accurate. Both of them are capable of shooting to the ammo's potential for accuracy. You're dealing with a smaller, shorter, lighter action of a CZ versus a more robust Remington 700 based action, and that's fill in the blank. That could be Rim-X, Voodoo, whoever. A 700 based action is always going to give you a little bit more girth. It's always going to feel a little bit beefier. It's always going to probably give you that little bit extra confidence. It's going to give you Remington 700 trigger compatibility. So if you're going into the shooting sports or you're already in it, you're shooting Remington 700s, I'm always going to tell people to go with that 700 clone over the CZ. But the CZ is, I mean, it's more than competitive, for sure, hands down. You know, I could take my CZ to a match and do just as well if I took one of the Rim-X's. Let's see. Matt C, appreciate it. Take the time to answer my question, comments on your videos. Took your advice on it with a 4 and top with a DNT the 1. Yeah, I have good luck with that DNT the 1. I mean, it's not obviously, you know, like the best thing since sliced bread, but for the money, like between it and the Arkin, which are the same scope, like they're hard to beat for the money. If you're looking to do something and not spend a fortune, that is a very good way to go. So I had problems with my bolt and the spring was in the wrong spot on the bolt. From the trigger side, or you're talking about in the bolt? Mr. Samad from Canada Customs CZ. Yeah, same deal. What small parts have you had to replace CZ they would recommend have spares of? Actually, like mine is freaking running strong. Like my CZs don't typically break. I would say if you got a factory CZ, maybe hit up Kenny about his extractors. Like that's not a bad idea. Because I do see like the factory extractors on the CZ will eventually give up the goes for some reason. So maybe that, but outside of that, you don't really need small parts. That is true. It doesn't parallax down past 50 yards. Honestly, for me, for rimfire, it's kind of like we may shoot at a target at 35 or 40 yards, but you typically don't need like perfect parallax for that. And if you're on the match down of 5 to 25, you're shooting at 12, 13 power, you're really not going to be suffering anything. Like, yeah, it's not going to parallax perfectly, but the forgiveness of parallax is pretty dang good. So like from a 50-yard minimum parallax and you're shooting 35, 40 on 12 power, you're going to be able to see the target just fine and engage it. I used to kind of freak out about that more, but then I kind of realized me as a shooter, I never changed the parallax almost ever anyways. Because you're seeing more high round count stages, more push for time, more movement. And that's typical of like the East Coast shooting anyway. We typically run like shorter time stages with more movement because we don't have like the crazy like environments that you have out west. So the emphasis on East Coast shooting is a lot of like fast movements with like a lot of movement and those kind of things. So I typically am not changing or messing with my parallax. So to me, the 50-yard minimum isn't really consideration. Daughter got a new CZ457 using SK Plus support to get Ely match. Yeah, I mean, it's always worth it to try other ammos. I mean, if that ammo's doing it for you, what you need it to do, then stick with it. You know, pay less for ammo for sure when you can. If you're trying to get more accuracy out of your setup than you're like producing right now, maybe go out and look at some other ones. But you're opening up a can of worms, you're going to have to test, you know. It's very possible to spend more ammo, get a worse result on one lot than your cheaper ammo. You know what I mean? So, you know, if you're not willing to like go all out and test a bunch of stuff, maybe just stick with what you got if it's working. Mr. White got my hoodie and patch coming with great quality. Thanks, Riley. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks. I appreciate all you guys showing up for this and, you know, jumping on the merch when we do the pre-orders. Try not to do that a whole lot because I don't want to turn into like some merch swindling YouTuber, but it is nice. We typically open the pre-order and then a bunch of you guys jump on. I think this last one was probably the most we've done orders wise. And I think I said I was going to do like a patch on the first 50. We were doing like 60 orders, so I just threw a patch in everybody's. All right, let's see. When lot testing, getting things dialed in, are there any advantages, disadvantages shooting indoors? I mean, yeah, there's always an advantage of shooting indoor. I don't think there's a disadvantage. If you're lot testing and you're trying to just like call out what doesn't shoot, then if you can shoot indoors, that's going to be better because you're not going to have environmentals messing with it. But then I would take the winners of that, go outside, get the SDES, see how it performs in the real world for you. Suggested barrel upgrade for the MTR for drop-in barrels, the L3i, the Modicam. That's for like prefits. Those would be the two right now, and obviously Lilja. The L3i, actually, let me back that up. So I would go for drop-in prefits, Modicam, Lilja L3i, and I'm not doing that based on performance because my L3i and the people I know have it have performed very well. There's not a lot of them out there though. The Liljas are like a tried and true like deal, and I've had enough barrels from them to know what I'm going to get. I have a sample size of 1 L3i, so it's hard to put it higher up on the list than that, but you do have the benefit of getting a thicker, bigger diameter barrel from L3i than is available currently through Lilja. So if you're looking at balance and weight, that may move it back up for you. Jaguar is the best. Yeah, it could very well be. Would a Rimx action last long? Honestly, with rimfire stuff, there's nothing real terrible in the build quality of the CZ short of whatever they're doing now. I'm talking about like everything I've had. Apparently now they're doing like some more plastic parts. But the metal parts, the things that I've had have not worn out. Like I haven't had stuff break, fall apart. The Rimx is more substantial. So you're getting everything's bigger and beefier, but we're not like beating the crap out of these rimfire actions. So I don't think one would outlast the other. Given the price and material differences, obviously the 700 clone should outlast, stand better to, the test of time than a production rifle like a CZ. But, from 4 years or whatever I've been doing this now, like I don't have anything that's fallen apart on any of them. So, yeah, you lefties got it bad for a little bit till Kenny does his. There's some options coming out, including Kenny. So lefties hang on for, a couple more months. somebody will come along and sweep you off your feet. Any talk about match ammo? I haven't really heard much, honestly, but I have had my head in the dirt. I've been super busy, super distracted. So I haven't been like really had my ear like to the ground for like ammo stuff. I know like the R50s and stuff like that is coming soon. Like that should be dropping soon. You should see those. So that'll help a little bit. We got Mr. Ryan Drink from Kansas. What's up, brother? Let's see. The spring for the extractor was closer to the pin, and I moved it into the dip and the bolt and fixed. Oh, I got you. Yeah. If that spring is not where it's meant to be, that'll put drag on actually. So if it's in the groove that the extractor's in, it'll actually put drag on that and basically make it not work. But yeah, that would definitely. Cheek weld or chin weld? I shoot with my cheek. I have a pretty small head. If you can see this, do the Vogue thing. I don't have a big head. And I'm a smaller guy, so there's not a lot of me in the way. I ride my rifle up high and I get into the gun. So I am very like down low into my gun. And that's kind of how I naturally like point and steer the rifle when I put it into a barricade. And then I just drop my head a little bit and get on it. So for me, I prefer the cheek weld. There's no right or wrong answer though. As long as you're consistent, especially when we're not moving parallax to be perfect all the time at these varying ranges, then consistency becomes like really, really more important. When I first started talking about consistency and things like that, I used to get flamed a little bit because guys would be like, oh, it doesn't matter. Look, I can move my head all around and shoot it. Yeah, you can at one distance. If you sit the rifle down and set your parallax perfectly, then who cares where your head goes, because the parallax adjustment on the optic, on a good optic, is taking that out of the equation. But most people miss the mark on that because they're not considering, more dynamic shooting when you have to, shoot between 50 and 300 yards on a single stage, moving in and out of a prop to different heights and things. Then consistency becomes more consistent. And at that point, it's whatever makes better sense to you, your body type. That's like telling someone how to shoot, how to hold, how to, this pressure, that pressure on a rifle. What works for me at 160 pounds does not work for the guy at 230 pounds because we have different body positions, because we have different body compositions, so like the way I shoot at a prop 2 feet off the ground is totally different than the way you would based on our body styles. So kind of same thing there. That's really going to be based on your preference in your build and what feels good to you. Is there a minimum clearance you recommend on MTR and feeling larger? Yeah, I mean, a couple, be able to take some paper down at 10,000 piece of paper, like the barrel's not going to grow like crazy. So just, a good gap so that there's no contact when the barrel heats up. Let's see. More updates for the people asking from Kenny. Mr. Roy, his mags run well. My Bergar mags run well too, man. Like, I just don't prefer them. I don't like polymer. Like, I just don't like it. And it took me forever. You will see more polymer on my guns now than you did like a couple of years ago. Like 3D printed bag riders and things like that. I would have never used those 2 years ago. I have absolutely hated polymer. But for things for rimfire, when balance is important, I've started using more. So you'll see me using like bag riders and little bits and pieces that are kind of 3D printed polymer stuff. But typically, especially for magazine stuff, I tend to not like polymer that much. Let's see. Sorry if this has been asked. I love a video or link on how to set up 200 to 300 yard dope using AV software and or Kestrel Elite. It's pretty easy. So make sure your zero is perfect. Like, spin up your Kestrel if you're using a Kestrel. Spin it up. Make sure you've got your environmentals on, like, actively. Zero, capture all that. You want to make sure your scope height offset, all that's good. Go with a generic BC, like from, what's advertised. Get your muzzle velocity, and then base your profile off that. That's going to get you on target. And then I would refer you probably to Ray's videos on how, there's a couple of good videos, like X-Ring did a video on the Elite, but I think you'll find you're going to be really close once you do those things. Let's see. I wish they'd had a vintage 22 RF category rifles in on production, or that qualified collectors instead of just an equipment race match. Yeah, I mean, open class is open class. Like, personally, I think there's better ways of doing it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the solution is, but there's obviously different and better ways of doing it. I would say that you're probably in a very, very low minority if we're talking about PRS and NRL. And I'm not saying this to be antagonistic. I'm just telling, like, the reality is you were like 1% of 1%, because 1% of rimfire shooters shoot competition, and you are 1% of that collective who wants to shoot a vintage rifle in like PRS or NRL. So it just would make no sense for them to make a division for that, because there's just not going to be enough. That's like air rifles. They added air rifles into these things. Look at the match results. There's like one air rifle guy to like 50 to 100 rimfire shooters. And so, yeah, it just becomes one of those things. But, I agree with you. I do like, things being more about the shooter. If they had more options outside of open, that would be cool. Mr. Tom Wyman, who thinks I'm beautiful. I think that's because he has cataracts and he can't see that well, but I'll take it. Mr. Ronald Eastman, what's up, brother? What's up, Mr. Shannon? Nice seeing you out at the match at the Long Gone. Glad you got the hoodie and you like everything. Let's see. So, which budget, i.e. 300-ish CZ4% barrel replacement? Honestly, I don't even know what is in the $300 price range. I don't think the L3 highs are still in the $300 price range, or I'd say them. Out of the other ones, I honestly don't really have a great answer for you. Maybe some other people can chime in on barrels they've used in the $300 price range, because I've tested some, but I had a small sample size, and like the L3I one, I think is not 300. If it was 300, that would be the easy answer. So yeah, sorry for the incomplete answer, but hopefully some people chime up in the comments who are using some $300 barrels. I have not reached out to Monstrum. Not yet. I've been so waylaid with everything. Let's see. More Eagle Eye answering people's Remex stuff. Let's see. Yeah, I think Slick, you missed it. He's coming out with his own. Let's see. Mr. Lonnie Robson. Hello, Josh from Montana. Been gone for a bit. What was your final thoughts? 26 Elijah Carson sent you. I liked it. The 26 inch is both the 0.9 and the 1 inch shot very well for me. And they were super quiet. And, you know, both like expected when I got them. I bore scoped them. They were really, really clean. So yeah, I mean, that's basically what I've grown to expect from the Liljas is like that I'm going to be able to shoot 0.3s with it, given I find the right ammo for it. That it's going to be lapped, it's going to be finished well, and the 26 inch was pretty much no difference there. Didn't disappoint. What's your favorite centerfire PRS caliber, Dasher guy? I am a cheapskate. I shot my buddy 6BR last year at the Gap Grind. This year, hopefully, I'm shooting a 22 ARC because I'm cheap and lazy and I want to just buy factory ammo. But the jury's still out on that because I haven't actually shot it yet. Difference between match and bench chamber. So the match is typically, you're going to get typically like a shorter, tighter chamber. So, I mean, the bench chamber is going to be like more reliable, quote unquote, for, you know, semi-auto actions, things like that. Match chambers, like I said, you're going to get more bolt engraving, things like that. So inherently slightly more accurate. But yeah, outside of that, most of your custom barrels, drum barrels, are going to come with match chambers. If you're having to pick between one or the other, oftentimes when it's an over-the-counter barrel, it's probably not going to make a difference. And I'm not knocking any company who offers like bench and match chambers, but my experience for rimfires, when they offer both a match and bench chamber, the barrel is probably not like going to be so accurate that you're going to notice a huge difference anyway. It's just been my experience. Again, I'm not like trying to drag anybody through the dirt. That's just kind of what I've seen. Do I like Norm Extreme ammo? No, I do not. And I also don't like the Ely Extreme. All that extreme stuff that's come out has been just like a nightmare. What's the next match you're shooting at with Squad? Man, I have no idea. I have like zero plans on traveling very far at this point to go to any matches just because I'm so far behind. But I do need to go to shoot a match with a Razor Gen 3. And I don't want to have to travel like super far, but I'll shoot you a text or something. We'll see what's out there. Maybe we can find something we can both go to. Opinion on having test center tests in the chassis or in the jig? Honestly, unpopular opinion, if your rifle's at test center somewhere that you're not probably ever going to shoot at anyway, like I live in North Carolina, you know, I'm not going to send my rifle to Phoenix or Ohio. At that point, it doesn't matter because it's not in the environment it's most likely going to be in, you know, different. Everything's different. I'm not saying that the test centers, you know, don't produce valid results. I'm just going to say that usually the ammo I get at test center shoots better at my house with me shooting it in my setup. And that's been pretty much every time I went to test center, both Ely and Lapua. I'm not a big test center guy. I think if you have the option, test it yourself at your house, and that's going to give you the best, most realistic answer. But for like Lapua, if you want Lapua, you're going to have to send it to the test center. And at that point, I'm just saying it's different enough that I don't think it's going to matter. They can put it in their rig, especially if it's a 700 clone. It shouldn't really matter. Whether it's in your chassis or their you know, kind of jig, because it's basically going to be the same. Best bang for the buck competition scope. I mean, it's got to be like the DNT, the 1, or the Arkin. They're just kind of like the best bang for your buck. And, you know, they're MRAD. They're kind of meant for Arkin, you know, for competition stuff. So that's probably bang for the buck. Obviously, you can go way up from there and get in the weeds. You know, it's not the scope that I would use for competition. I just think it is the best bang for the buck. For what you spend and what you get, I think it's there. But, you know, it's not what I'm going to bolt on to one of my competition guns. Because I think it's $1,000 in glass and coatings and things away from being like actually really competitive to use. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he might need it. He's got his parallax set at 50 yards and I'm 5 yards away. Alfred Rogers saved 400 by not eating eggs. That's funny. Great Plains. That sounds really freaking far away. Like that sounds like Kansas. Like really, really far away. I live a couple hours, and yeah, maybe you'd be all right. You know, if you live close to there, I would probably ask them to shoot it in my chassis. You know, they may or may not do that. But yeah. Gravestone in Texas, hosted by Shane Ward, has a huge NRL20 X-Catch prize match coming up in June. Oh boy. I am terrible with gambling. Like, I'm not like a previous addict to gambling. I just like, when I gamble on things, I just don't do very well because I shoot very much now for fun. Like, for fun and research, which is both fun because I get to research things and come back and make videos and hopefully help people. So I'm really shooting for fun, and that's a great place for me to be. If I'm shooting for cash or doing anything for cash, I'm probably going to lose. But yeah, Texas is pretty far away too. What were you running your action screws at torque on the MTR? MTR, I did play with mine from like 15 to 30. I think I settled somewhere around 25 to 30. Mine did like a little bit more juice. But be careful going past like 35. The MTR does have plastic pillars in it, but you don't want to get to the point where you're going to like start crushing into that stuff. Beyond 2 minutes, DNT has 2 mil holes or none in Arcans have. Yeah, that's the, I mean, the DNT is the Arkin. Like both the 735s are the same scope, but the DNT has a 0.2 subtensions, which makes it a better PRS NRL 22 scope, in my opinion. Let's see. Smoky Mountain ATV event. Did I miss? I must have missed. Let me go up because you said any idea, but I think I must have missed your previous one. Let me find you. I'm not seeing a comment. Let me know if I missed something. I just see any idea. So I don't know. And yeah, it's in Kansas. And question from Mr. Eli. Which brand? KYL rack. Oh, he was asking, I think they're asking Kenny. But if you're asking, I've used both Shooting Target 7 and DM Targets. Both of them are really good. You can go either one. The DM Targets has like the one that goes like here, 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 here. It's alternating, so you can't shoot it like as fast across. So it's a little bit more challenging. It's going to make you move a little bit. And the Shooting Target 7 one straight across, but both have been really good. Does action, it can, I guess, on certain setups. I'm going to be totally honest with you. On my guns, I put them in and I give them the old German torque spec of Gutentite. And because I have high quality guns made by high quality gunsmiths like Kenny, Jonathan at MCR, or, you know, my stuff is set up. It's not very like significantly affected by those things because the chassis is really nice. The overall gun build is really nice. They don't, like, it doesn't seem to matter, at least not enough. Now, that's not everybody's setup. I would check that, you know, for your own thing, especially if you got like 1 or 2 guns. That's the other part of this. I have too many guns, like, and I'm constantly moving them around, changing things. And if I had to like test all the different like interfaces at different, I would never make videos. Like that would be the only thing I would make videos about, would be like the best action screw torque for this gun and this stock. Like, and some people may actually like that, but I do not want to make just those videos. Any idea on a Ruger Precision rimfire barrel change? No, I mean, mine is acting a fool. Kenny had talked about maybe us doing something. There's a couple people in the comments who really want to see that. There's a couple more people in the comments who don't want to see that because they don't think it's realistic to have a gunsmith do it. They want to see a drop in. I don't know. Maybe we'll go, personally, maybe I'll go down that road. I didn't even know this, but somebody said in the comments, apparently Lilja makes one. I'll hit them up and I'll talk to Kenny. And maybe we can do like a build up. Like, the factory one I have is crap. The barrel sucks in it. And then I do a drop-in barrel. What does that get me? What do we see? And then maybe we go up from there and we take a CZ barrel. I have a couple of spare CZ barrels and we let Kenny custom smith one on there, and then we see where we go with that. I imagine it's going to be a step tier, obviously. But yeah, be pretty cool. I have tried the Discovery ED. Yep, I've tried it. Actually, I was very surprised by what it also offers. I don't like the form factor and the feel of the turrets as much as the other one. So like the Arkans and the DNT, and it is huge. But I do think it may outperform the Arkan and DNT on glass quality. I don't know why or how. And I've even heard other people who have this like pitted against way bigger name scopes with surprising results. But I think it's one of those deals. It's a very low dollar optic. So you're going to get some people who have just like the best, like, oh my God, this thing is amazing. You got people that like have mediocre, like, yeah, this is on par for what it costs. And you're going to have people who are disappointed because for the price point of what they sell them, there's got to be like no QC. Like they got Joe Rea with one eye looking at these optics as they go behind a conveyor. That's got to be the level of QC for like a $300 or $400 scope, because I just don't see how they would afford any QC at that price point. But let's see. 1.5 Ugga-Duggas. Yeah, that's about it. Mr. Jeff Frankowski. Hey there, Josh. Old man from the Pacific Northwest. Questions for all. Changed out my CZ4% L3 barrel MPA chassis shooting awesome, but having feeding issues. None prior feeding issues. And you went with the MPA chassis. It's got to be because check, make sure nothing. So this is what I would have you do. Make sure, take the barreled action out because the 457 does not rely on the chassis. Put a mag in there, obviously make it safe, do it somewhere safe, and then go through and cycle through. If your feeding issues go away, something in the mag well of that MPA chassis is putting, like that mag funnel is putting the mag well of the CZ in a bind and not allowing you to get that mag, because the mag interfaces with the action and not the chassis. So there shouldn't be an issue. So pull it out, try it. If you don't get any issues, then put it in and pay close attention and look at it as you're tightening it in. Is that mag funnel, imparting anything on there? You could even pull that mag funnel out, try it that way, and then just, whittle it down and see what's causing your issues. Mr. Redneck Rimfire, what's up, brother? Let's see. Yeah, I would agree with you, man. And yes, oh shit, Redneck showed up. What makes a lot? Well, so every time they start and stop the machine or anything like that, it's a different lot. Sometimes it's like a brass. So they got this lot of brass that comes in and this lot of projectiles, and they've got 2,000 of these. Load those up in the machine. They start it. They run it at the end. They stop it. That's a lot. And then maybe you got the same projectile because there was 20,000 of those, a lot of projectile, but here's a new lot of brass. So we put that in. We put the new brass in. We fire the machine up. We run it till it runs out. That's another lot. So a lot of times it can just be different lot of brass, but essentially it's every time the machine stops and starts. That is a new lot. And outside of that, they could be doing other things I'm not for sure on. Let's see. I know you changed your barrels to test CZ. Would you recommend a Loctite, the tenant, and a receiver help? I don't think you need to, honestly. You could if you're concerned about it, if it's a one and done deal. I've never felt the need to do it. I've never had any like real problems otherwise. Have you tried the T-back bipod? No, I haven't. I think that must be the new one I've been seeing a lot about, but I have not. So you have too many rifles. No, that's such thing. You started this round. Yeah, I mean, the problem is I don't have too many rifles. I don't have enough because there's stuff out there I want. I have too much to know. Let's say rewind 4 years ago, I had like 2 rifles. Like, and when the CZ457 was like my one and only gun, I knew everything about that thing. I knew at any time how many rounds I had since it was last cleaned, how many rounds I had on it total. I knew the lot number off the top of my head that it shot. I know in what condition the barrel liked to be shot, the torque value of the stock to action, how that needed to be. I knew everything. And that honestly is the best place to be if you're trying to be a serious shooter. Once you get like 12, 13, 14 guns, throw that out the window. I have no idea what condition any of these barrels are in, how many rounds they got on them, when they got last shot. I had to start writing things down on the ammo because I couldn't remember which lot was for which rifle. So it becomes a nightmare. Let's see. Shaw makes an RPR. Yeah, maybe we'll do that too. We got nothing to lose on the RPR. Let's see. It would cool to see a build up video versus a gun. Yeah, I mean, I think we could do all, I think we could do it all. RPR can only take a drop in when it's barrel nut stock, CZ410 is close to it, hence the idea to use CZ. Yeah, so I mean, fairly, I think we could do it all, we could do a couple of drop ins all the way up to maybe something with Kenny, if Kenny still wants to take that on. Like I said, I've got some barrels and things, so. What's your take on barrel length if you're rating a drop in? At this point, I mean, I'm preferring the longer stuff, 24 to 26 inches. It's quieter, seems to have better SDES. I just prefer it. I don't think there's a need to go shorter unless you're doing it for something outside of the shooting sports. If you're hunting, doing something like that, obviously go shorter, put a suppressor on it, call it a day. But for what we do, I would say 24 to 26 inches. I have not tried the Zero Tech. There's all sorts of stuff. I need to really sit down and this is really the time of the year, and it's been my fault. It's 100% my fault. I have been somewhat distracted, had a ton of stuff going on at work, family, everything in between, and I need to get back on the ball about reaching out and getting some more stuff to try, but just been kind of not been able to do it. Let's see, on the CZ, there's a metal bracket that the mag house screws into and also gauges the barrel tenon. You need to slowly screw these in while fitting the barrel. Ensure, yeah. Yeah, I actually loosened the very front one to allow me to get the barrel tenon in, and then I tighten that in, and then with the barrel still loose, and then I lock the barrel in. That's how I go about it. Does barrel length? I don't think so. I mean, it could, because it could slow it down or speed it up, and that could change things harmonically. But overall, I don't think there's 26 inches shoot Ely, 25.5 inches shoot SK Lapua. It's more the chamber, the smithing, those kind of things. Because obviously there's chambers out there that exist just for Lapua, designed for Lapua. And then there's chambers out there that guys are doing just for Ely. So I think it's more about that. Let's see. Someone asking if Kenny has Talons in stock. Let's see. Josh just told my son. I guess you didn't sell your son. I thought you did at first. He probably has or is one of the best. Nice. Appreciate it, brother. Quality Maximus, are you doing any more barrel testing? If I just understand the deck. Yeah, I for sure am, and I'm waiting actually. So I'm waiting on a couple barrels to come in for the Bregar and the CZ, one from the same company. We've been waiting kind of a hot minute. They had to make some changes, whatever. Still waiting on that. So yeah, we're definitely not done testing. As long as guys are making pre-fits, these kind of things, we're going to keep testing barrels because I really get into that, and I think that you guys like to see the barrel test, especially the pre-fit options, things like that. So yeah, so currently I'm waiting on pre-fits for both the Bregar, one for the Bregar, one for the CZ. We'll test both of those, hoping they come in sooner rather than later. because it's been a while. Let's see. With the longer barrel, 700 clones, you prefer to have full internal weights to get it heavier, or just enough for the balance, not too heavy? Typically, by the time I add weights to make it balance, it's about the weight I like. I'm not tied to a weight. I could shoot a rifle anywhere between 18 and 24 pounds. That's fine with me, like either one of those. But it's just going to depend on, all the other things, what chassis it's in, how many barrel, what's the barrel size is, how many weights I need. So not real picky about like targeting a weight as much as a balance point. Let's see. Will the Loja one? Yeah, the 1 inch should fit without we might get kicked off. So which I'm going to end this in the next 15 minutes anyway, but I'm going to test because I think I have the 1 inch over here and I have an MTR stock, and we'll see. Oh yeah. All right. So wood stock, not. Let's see. Oh, maybe I don't have it here. Where? Let's see. Well, the 1 inch is put up. So let's see here. I'm just going to measure this side to side because I found that that's the same kind of limitation. No. The 1 inch will not fit. The 960 or the 900 will. The 1 inch is not. I'm getting like 969 on. That's a factory MTR stock. So I was thinking it would. Mine has been opened up a long, long time ago. It's very easy to open them up if you don't mind doing it. But if you want to leave it bone stock, it will not. What about barrel dwell time, lock time, and longer barrels? Honestly, I think that's kind of something like, yes, does dwell time exist? It's a big topic in air guns, man. Big topic because they're slower. It stays in the barrel longer. Honestly, I don't think it's impacting anything because literally, I've personally run these tests and then done it on camera too, where I literally set a gun on a tank trap on a bag and just pull the trigger and let it recoil. And it recoils up and over the target and it doesn't impact anything. So I think dwell time is something it exists, but I don't think it's as big a deal as we make it out to be. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't consider it for, when you're getting a barrel. Let's see. That is a loaded question, unfortunately, that nobody can answer because every barrel is different. Every barrel likes its own. I will say that you're going to get the best performance across the board with, generically speaking, higher end ammo. Ely Match, Ely 10X, Lapua, Center X, long range, super long range, R50, special match. But to answer that specifically, or categorically is impossible because any answer I gave would be a lie. Let's see. B14 heavy and MDT XRS with inner and outer weight. That's on heel, 34 millimeter. Should be good. Mr. Keith Schultz. Just got your EOS date on your action you're making. Yeah, I think they were asking him already, but I'm sure he will pipe in. Question for Josh and Kenny. Are there any barrels out that choke or elastic so before the muzzle like Remedy does center fire? Good on 200. That's definitely a Kenny question because I do not go that deep into the barrel manufacturing side. Mr. Roger Rose sounds like he had that problem with the Magwell. Recommended cleaning rod to fit my 457. My 40-year-old cleaning rod won't go through my barrel. Yeah, I really like the Vortec. You can get the 22 RF, which is the rimfire specific, and then get whatever length you want. I love the Vortec cleaning rods. A little pricey, but really good. I have two of them. I don't even take. I have one with a jag, one with a brush, and I love them. I do have an opinion. I do not like that action. I think it is catchy, hangy, and it's not inherently any more accurate than a well-done 1022. So I think it's kind of a moot point. Not saying, the Anschutz variants that do much, much, much better. The Summit just was not. It was a great idea, poorly executed. in my opinion. Every single action I've seen on the summits have been very catchy, hangy, and just don't feel great. And I don't think that they feed that great either. So yeah, just my 2 cents. I would avoid it. At 50 yards, what is acceptable fly shot group average size over multiple groups, and what is outstanding? It depends, man. .3s are going to do anything you need to do in rimfire, whether that's you can win a national level PRS match with a gun that shoots .3s. So, you know, are you going to win a bench rest national match with a gun that shoots point? Probably not. That's a different game, different gun. But for a repeater setup, .3s, that's literally all you need. Is it nice to have something that shoots .1 or 2? Sure. Totally unnecessary. So I would say .3s are the point where you don't need to worry about the gun. Anything other than that is extra sauce. You know what I mean? On the whole ammo barrel length thing, I've always read 22 ammo will typically expand its burn to 16. What that means, I don't know. It just means it's done burning ammo. So if you if you shoot a 16-inch barrel 22 with even match ammo subsonic, it's going to be very loud because it's still burning ammo or burning powder. You go to 18, all of a sudden it's going to get quieter. You go to 20, even quieter. But yeah, I mean, so 16 inches after that length that the bullet has traveled, it has burned up all the powder. So it's no longer creating velocity. That's why a lot of the guys, one, I like the longer barrels, 24 to 26, because they're more quiet. And two, I just think it's not right. Like the 18-inch right on that point still where I think it's probably a little short for what I would like to see consistency-wise. But yeah, that's basically what that means. What's your go-to tripod? So I'm using the inverted one as a T3 Dauntless. That's like the only inverted, like crazy locking one I got. If I want something built like a freaking tank, you know, like something that that I really got to like shoot off of a lot. I don't mind carrying the extra weight. Them Fat Boy tripods are freaking rock solid. And the Athlon stuff is good. A lot of these guys, honestly, a lot of like the middle of the road, tripod, I'm talking like the cheaper end of the thing, they're pretty much all Leophotos. Like that's basically what you're getting down on the lower end. The Two Vets tripods were really nice too that I mess with. But I like the inverted, like I like just like a single deal because it's easier for me. And a lot of that has to do with me setting up a camera too, because that's when I use my T3 Dauntless a lot is actually for my camera. That's what my camera's on right now. It's just easier than having, like, I don't need to like store it down in a pack. So I like having just like, the two sections, make it quick. Let's see. Appreciate you out there flapping. Thanks, brother. What's up, Mr. Bill? Nice to have you. Base class rifle for a beginner. Honestly, I'm going to recommend a CZ almost every time. It's just, that's the easy one. CZ, or you can go Bergara. I have way more faith in the CZs. But MSRP can be a thing. So go CZ or Bergara. See, I think that's why ants shoot short and their barrels reduced to a lot of times follow through is so important in bullseye shooting. Honestly, I mean, this said, do not take my word for it. Like, it's just me. I like really follow through to me is not something that you should be worried about. I said, I've went out of my way to try and make it to the point where I had zero follow through, and it didn't affect like anything. Like it wasn't affecting like the fact that you can shoot off of a prop and shoot like 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 inch groups with our rifles, I think is a testament to that. But again, it's just my personal feelings. I just don't like, out of all the things you can do to shoot better, follow through would be like the last thing that I would actually tell someone to work on. Like trigger control, stabilizing the gun, being extremely stable. All those are great because at the end of the day, you need to have like, when that trigger breaks, the reticle needs to be exactly where you want that bullet to go. And, hopefully all things considered, everything else is performing up to the snuff, and that's where your impact goes. But like I said, that's just me. I'm not saying that that's not a thing. It's just for me personally, I put like almost zero stock into like follow through, because even for like bench rest guns and things like that, I shot, it just has never been something I've really considered as super important or something that's hindered me that I know of anyway. In a year, maybe I'll have a different answer. MDT, the video where I took ridiculous barrel length, shot it and measure and took 1-2 inches off repeated, worth watch and see results. Yeah, MDT does some pretty cool videos like that. Let's see. Yeah, I was looking at the Pure RSTF Dauntless. Seems to be the best for PRS. It's just bulky. It is very bulky, but that's what a lot of guys run. They have a new one too that's like has weights for it too. I mean, I don't know that I need that. Maybe I want it, but I don't need it. What's up, Mr. Greg? Appreciate you. Let's see here. All right, let's get our last minute question. I'm going to wrap this up in about 5 minutes because I still got a bunch to do tonight. Let's see. Appreciate you, Mr. Dana. Nice having you. Let's see. I added a suppression my people and scenes. My groups are all about 1/4 to half MOA worse than it was on there. The can is not necessarily culprit. The culprit is harmonics. So when you put anything on the end of the barrel, you change the harmonics. This so happened to be, this time was for the worse. It could have been just as easily. I've seen people say it was for the better, but you're changing harmonics. So that's basically what a tuner is supposed to do, right? You put this weight on the end of your gun, you move it forward and backwards. You're able to kind of like change that harmonic node. And that's what you did with a tuner or with your suppressor. It was a tuner, but it only had one setting, and your gun and ammo just didn't like that one setting. So that's basically, yeah, that's kind of where you're at with it. What headspace you recommend for rules shooting elite? I would target like, maybe like 42, 43 thousandths. I typically tend to end up around like 41, but that's just me. Let's see. Mr. Clay Kennedy, what's up, brother? Do I shim? I shim only the barrels that need to be shimmed. I have shimmed a bolt before on a like purely drop-in barrel that you couldn't shim to tighten up the headspace. I've shimmed other people's stuff, and I do see like it has, for the cost of shims, like bolt shims, if you got a barrel that doesn't come with shims, not meant to be shimmed, you add bolt shims. And I've seen a little benefit from that. So maybe it's worth trying, for, especially for the cost of shims are next to nothing. What's up, Mr. Jeff? What's going on, brother? I see right there in your, looking right there. He's got the trophy. That was the Long Gong winner for our first and only Long Gong match. Mr. Jeff from Maine came out there and gave it to the boys. Let's see, it's a Kenny question. Burn it down, Barney. Man, you are late to the freaking party, but you made it. I appreciate you, brother. Need to catch up with you at a match one day. Barney is good people. How Josh think you got? I think you guys shooting in the internet shed a lot of light on those shooting sports and CZ and others caught on to raise their game and prices. Could be, man. Appreciate you. Mr. Roger Rose, before you get gone, John's always brother. Keep doing it. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Kenny's got a few questions he's going to answer. Jeff's cheesing it up. But yeah, no, again, over 200 people. It's crazy that everybody shows up. My virus protection on my computer has ended. I just got a pop-up notifying me about that. So if this crashes all of a sudden, it's because I'm trying to close the virus pop-up. But anyway, I always appreciate seeing you guys out here. It's nice to get on here and do the lives because we get the real-time questions. And obviously, none of the videos are scripted, but I can't anticipate what you guys will want to know. So it's always good to catch up with you guys. Try and do these a little bit more. I was doing like every other week, I think, for a while. Kind of fell off the boat here recently with the weather, all the stuff going on. Getting back in the swing of it, very much. Still waiting on a bunch of stuff to give you guys some really cool videos. At least I hope they'll be cool. But anyways, again, I say all that to say, appreciate all you guys do. You're the reason I have the platform. I might even be expanding into like a little bit of car content coming up on YouTube as a backup, just in case YouTube decides to kill all gun channels. But yeah, so if you see me post a link to another channel, that may be my second channel about car content type stuff. But anyways, I won't let that detract, obviously, from the rimfire stuff. And again, I appreciate you guys watching. I will go back and read all. Let me see. I'm going to make a quick run at it, make sure I miss anything pressing. Appreciate everybody at Leftio making it late. Mr. Average KS Hunter. Twisted, you were right. This has been crazy weather. Mr. Roy, Mike, everybody. Make sure I didn't Mustang. No Mustang. It's not a Mustang. I went down that road. But yeah, it won't be about Mustangs. Yeah. Fire between me and Ridge Daddy's house. That's not good. So yeah, anybody who's got the fire stuff going on, hope that you guys are staying safe too. But I appreciate all you guys coming here watching. Catch you on the next one. Thanks, guys.